happiness. The title is Happiness Can Be Here and Now. Here and now is an emphasis on the present moment. When you're on the MRT, happiness can be there and then. When you are on a bus, you can be happy on the bus. When you're at work, you can be happy at work. This Dhamma talk is in relation to some of the previous talks that I have given elsewhere. I have explained in a few other places that by cultivating appreciation, by directing our mind to what we have, by strengthening the awareness of what is in our hand, we can be happy. Usually, whenever there is slight inconvenience, the psychological habit that we have is that the mind tends to multiply the negative effect and that ignores the positive things that we have in life. So this is the 80-20 theory, the law of imbalance that I usually quote. The law of imbalance. So in my previous Dhamma talks, the focus is on cultivating the positive attitude, positive thinking. By thinking the good thing in your life, the successes that you have had, the contribution that you have made towards the family member, your family members, your community, your country, to the wider world, to think about them often, so that it becomes a default position in the subconscious mind. People don't usually put effort to think about the good thing that they have in life. So in an emergency case, they wouldn't be able to relate to the good thing that they have in life, the blessing that they have in life. So that's the point of my previous talks on happiness. To develop happiness by focusing on the good health that we have, good friends that we have, the money that you have rather than what you don't have, the job that you have rather than that is not in your hand. Try to focus on what is in your hand rather than what is not. We don't do that enough. And although we have all the conditions to be happy, we are not happy because of that. But today I would like to focus on a different thing. On the inconveniences of life, the discomforts, the painful parts of life. We come across this daily. At work, there may be time when you feel frustrated because you don't get your way, because you don't get as much collaboration from your colleagues, support from the team, and you feel frustrated. Today, my suggestion is that even when you are facing them, if you know how to cope with them, how to deal with them properly, there can still be happiness. Without being arrogant, without ignoring the pain that you are facing. And today, of course, we can spend many days talking about this, but today I just would like to focus on two words: empathy and compassion. Empathy and compassion. I think even the native speakers themselves are still confused what these two meanings are. And usually there's a third one: sympathy. And as far as I can reach, I have gone through some of the definition by psychologists. I'm still confused if I read them. But today, I'm grateful to this book, and I'm going to take some of the quotation from this book. It's called "The Power of Compassion to Change Yourself and the World." Altruism. It talks about altruism. Compassion and altruism. By Matthew Ricard, a French biologist. He has a PhD in biology, and then he became a Buddhist monk. This is him. He has written a book called Happiness. It's one of the best-selling books, the bestsellers. I just would like to, this book is from our library, so it's here. It's here. Empathy and compassion, let's talk about this. When we encounter with suffering, frustration is suffering, anger is suffering, tension is suffering, jealousy is suffering, feeling insecure is suffering, not to get what you want is suffering. It's all sorts of suffering. We don't need to talk about this, Buddhism specializes in the definition of suffering. Put it that way, We have this. In his first lecture, the Buddha defined suffering in the widest possible way. It covers physiology, psychology, daily life, and more. Empathy and compassion are two of the many ways of dealing with pain, dealing with inconveniences. We know, because for the last 20 years or so, many scientists have taken Buddhist meditation into their research. They have done research, and this book is one of them. It talks about the psychological lab in Maastricht, that is in the city in the Netherlands. It talks about the procedure and the finding. So, if you're interested in neurology, that's the science of brain, then this book is very important. You have other books also, written by neurologists. The word neuroplasticity, I think I showed the other day, The Mind and the Brain, a book by a professor from UCLA Medical School that talks about mindfulness in dealing with suffering. But today, we focus on compassion. We talk in neurological terms and Buddhist understanding. Empathy. Empathy means you place yourself in someone else's shoe. You feel their pain. If someone is suffering from stomachache, then you put yourself in that person's place and then you feel their pain. What you do here is empathy is just to feel someone else's pain and stop there. Maybe because somebody somebody shares the same nationality with you. Maybe Singaporean, maybe Burmese, maybe British, or maybe someone share your belief as a Buddhist, as a Christian, as a Muslim, as a Hindu, as a non-believer, as a humanist. Because of those affinities, you share their pain. You share their pain. This is empathy. Empathy is limited in a way from scientific point of view and from Buddhist point of view. Limited in a sense, you only trying to feel that person's pain, and there is no orientation of the mind to reduce the pain. If you go beyond feeling the person's pain and you actually want to reduce the person's pain, this is considered to be compassion. So they can be very similar. The difference that I read from this book is that with empathy, you stop with sharing the pain. With compassion, you go beyond that, you want to reduce the person's pain. We use the word maternal love in this book, maternal compassion. That's the discourse on loving kindness, Metta Sutta, that we chant very often here, that we chant, actually the monks chant every day. Mata yatha niyang buddhang ayusa eka buddha manurake. Just as the mother with only and one child would protect her child with her life. In the same way, we need to extend that maternal love to all beings. So extension to all beings. My understanding is that empathy goes with the affiliation of nationality, of social status, of belief, so affinity, some kind of affinity, and you empathize with them. You empathize with their pain. We can say that this is a good quality, that you empathize with someone else's pain. But when we look deeply, neurologically, and from meditation point of view, actually, empathy can be short-lived because it can lead you to burn out, to being burnt out. You see, people who are motivated by the suffering of others and who have decided to help, they may think that they have compassion, but actually some of them, they only have empathy. They go in to help a certain organization or set up a certain organization. It looks very altruistic. But after a few years, people get burnt out and they just don't want to hear anything about this anymore. Say if your friend has a lot of distress and comes to you, talks to you, because the person is your friend, so straight away you can connect with the pain. You listen to the pain. But the person is going to repeat again and again before he or she can get over that pain, that stress. Now you are being pushed to your limit. Sometimes you may counter, you need to do this, you just stop. And if your friend doesn't listen to you, you don't want to see your friend again. I have seen a family, their son, they have so many young adults in the family. One day, the son, he became restless. He's a very academic person. But he became restless and he took to drink and stay out very late at night and like that. The parents, the sisters, they empathize with his pain. So they feel his pain. But they start with empathy. And that was manifested in their relationship with him. One of his sisters told me, last night I asked my brother to come home. I said, if you don't come home, you just go for suicide. You're giving too much trouble to mom and dad. This kind of negative word, negative action, negative command can come out of a sister. This is because you only empathize. Empathy means you feel the person's pain but not in total. Compassion is to feel the person's pain and in total. When you feel the in total without judging why this person is suffering, that doesn't matter. If he is stupid and got himself into this trouble, it doesn't matter. If it's unfortunate, that is why he has got himself into this trouble, it doesn't matter. If he's a good person, nevertheless is still in trouble, it doesn't matter. If he's a bad person and in trouble, it doesn't matter. We talk about non-judgmental mindfulness. Not to judge, not to added value judgment. In the Mingun and Mahasi meditation technique, we observe, when you hear, just observe hearing. When you have anger, just register that as anger without saying good or bad. When there is an automatic thought of compassion arises, just observe this is compassion. Not to say this is very good. That's the time we are training ourselves to develop non-judgmental awareness. So compassion is based on this non-judgmental awareness. In the discourse on mindfulness, the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha says very clearly that in order to feel our own pain and other people's pain, we need to be developing, non-judgmental mindfulness. So, empathy is still judgmental in some way. So compassion is non-judgmental. You feel the pain, you embrace that as if this person is your child. When the child when her child is suffering, the mother, reasoning is set aside. The first thing she does is to feel her child's pain and motivate herself into action to reduce that pain. An example given in this book, that's about page number 58, that's from the beginning of chapter 4 in this book. It talks about one of the images that you might have seen all over the worldwide media. That's the images of children in one of the orphanages in Romania. They look very helpless. Yes, they were washed every day. They were given a wash. They were fed every day. But beyond that, there was no one who actually tried to comfort them. So when this monk, Matthew Ricard, when he just focused on that and not on compassion, that is empathy, he just focuses on developing empathy. He tried to feel that pain, but stop at that without going into the activity of reducing their pain. He said after some time he became exhausted, very tired, became almost burnt out. And you have the brain images to support that. Because a different part of the cerebral cortex of the brain was activated at that time. And then after some break, he used the same images now to do compassion, meaning to feel their pain and then to embrace each child, to comfort them, to reassure them. This time to embrace their pain deeper and in total. The part of the brain that was activated this time was a different part. And he didn't feel exhausted. So, if you don't mind me reading the subheading, only empathy gets exhausted, not compassion. This is how they use the Buddhist teaching and neurological research to define the difference between empathy and compassion. This evening, my focus is that if we develop compassion, then in spite of the pain, the suffering, the inconveniences that we face, the mind is still peaceful and calm. And I call this happiness. I wouldn't say, you are joyful, but you are peaceful. You are peaceful. Peaceful that comes from compassion, that comes from the right attitude towards pain, suffering, and inconveniences. Many people think compassion is luxury. And you only do this when you have extra time, when you have extra money to spend. So that's when you go for something luxurious. And when people say, they have compassion towards you, sometimes you feel insulted because, wow, why do you have to feel compassionate towards me? We can't distinguish between pity and compassion. Pity is a kind of, self-love and very self-centered. But compassion is not like that, it's altruistic. So we mix them up. And when people feel compassion towards us, we think this is a sign of weakness, I don't want your compassion. And you do compassion from time to time on other people because, you have the luxury of time, the luxury of this, of that, You see it as a luxury. What the Buddha is saying is that compassion is not luxury. It's not a luxury. It's compulsory. In order to live a peaceful and happy life, compassion is the way to manage pain, emotional pain, physical pain, like that. From taking too many tablets, perhaps, since my operation, I have some stomach upset, for the last few days, even now. So, I focus on this. And with this, I try to see if it stops with empathy or if it goes beyond that and reaches compassion. When you look at pain and if you become exhausted, that's empathy. If you look at pain, you become energized, this is compassion. This is, in brief, the difference between them. You use pain as the raw material. You look at that with the right attitude. Right attitude means anatta, not just me. This experience is universal. Universal. You go to see hospitals, people are in the queue, long queue. Most of them, they take some form of tablets just like me. And when you realize that this is actually a universal experience, there's nothing you can do. If you have illness, you have to take some tablets to cure this. My doctors, they are very careful, they are very good. They prescribe also omeprazole to prevent this happening. Perhaps that's not good enough, I still feel this pain. But when you watch your pain, your tummy pain, and you have to see whether you become exhausted. If you become exhausted, you need to adjust this because you are on empathy, not compassion. Meaning, you have to embrace your pain in total with the right attitude. Which attitude is the mother's attitude, maternal attitude, maternal feeling. Maternal feeling. The mother doesn't judge if her son is in trouble because of he's good, because he's bad. During the time he is, the child is crying, the mother's instinct is to do something to reduce the pain. That's the priority. Everything else is secondary. Is secondary. So, here and now means the urgency of the present moment. to embrace the pain that we have. If it's in the office, embrace the pain in the office. Sometimes you think you don't get enough support, sometimes you don't get enough collaboration, people don't appreciate your role in the office, and you feel a grief. If that's the case, then embrace that pain and try to extend that. That extension is very important. Many of the subtitles, they have that kind of what we have in the Metta Sutta, Evam Pisabha Buddhesu, in just as so, you have to extend it to all being. From that, something you can see. Extended compassion, extended love, that we need to extend compassion beyond ourselves. That is about becoming altruistic. So my main point this evening is that we don't really need to run away from pain, because to run away from pain is to go into a fight and flight mode. That is, to look at everything as an emergency, life and death. But not every situation is life and death scenario. And we can save the energy, the resources that we have. I think I have spoken somewhere else about fight and flight mode. But so I don't want to go into detail this evening. Instead, compassion not only prevents us from going into emergency mode, it also saves our energy. We are embracing the pain, the problem in total, but using only minimal energy. So this is a very efficient management of pain. Very efficient. But some people, small headache, they use a lot of physical and mental energy, and they feel very exhausted, easily frustrated, easily agitated. This is because you use so much of your energy, you waste so much of your energy. You're on the decline with your resilience. Not much resilience anymore. So these are the things that scientists such as clinical psychologists and neurologists have taken into their research and proved to be true, to work for all of us. Before that, we only had what the Buddha taught 2,600 years ago, but today we have these sciences to help us understand this. Embracing pain is a training that we need to take. We can't do this intellectually. If we can, then more intellectual people will be the kindest people, which is not the case. So, compassion is a method to cope with pain, to reduce pain. It doesn't run away from the pain. Instead, it embraces the pain with the right attitude. If you do that, in spite of the problem, the inconveniences, the pain that you have in daily life, there is still a chance, an opportunity to be happy here and now. Thank you.
Sadhu. If you have any questions.
When you talk about compassion, yes, sometimes we try. I mean, for me, my own experience, I try to cultivate compassion, but sometimes we feel that we're very helpless. You see, so it's not a very good feeling. You know, when you see some people suffering or the poor kids and things like that, you feel you don't feel good. So I kind of be more detached, because the more then you don't feel good yourself because you're helpless. There's not much. Sometimes there's not much you can do about it. You see. Can you elaborate on that?
That's what empathy is about. What this book with neurological research is saying is that that's not compassion, that's only empathy. So the title of the chapter is From Empathy to Compassion. From empathy to compassion. When you see children being abandoned, you see it on television. According to what I understand from this book, you can revisualize that image in your mind, that helpless child. You approach the child, the helpless child, in your meditation, pick him up, give him some comfort. This is at least in meditation. But it comes to real life. In real life, we will be able to, we will be prompted toward that direction. Towards that direction. In ignoring, in stopping, in detaching from that image, from that issue, we are actually using more energy to do that. Because in daily life, we cannot avoid inconveniences. Daily life is full of pain. They just differ the level, the degree. So what the Buddha is saying is that not running away, instead you should walk straight to the pain and embrace it deeper. That's the message. When we try to embrace it, when we find helpless, and we have to see what's happening with the emotion there. Usually the emotion goes to blaming someone else or blaming ourselves. Blaming someone else for causing that situation, or blaming ourselves for not being able to prevent that. That blaming is automatic, is an auto mind. That auto mind is draining a lot of mental energy. These are all neurologically proven these days with the latest machine, what they call fMRI and EEG. You can, within 1 minute, you can get about thousands of brain images, and you can look at them in real time. During what time, what's your emotional state, and what the brain images are. To trying to detach ourselves from the suffering is different from being impartial with suffering. When we try to detach ourselves sometimes, because we can't take it anymore, the mind still goes on reasoning why this happened. And if someone doesn't share any affinity with us, maybe not the same nationality, not the same religion, not the same part of the world, maybe you don't support the same football fan, football club in England, for example, then you don't really feel that pain. So these are the shortcoming in dealing with pain. The whole teaching of the Buddha is about dealing with pain, is about understanding and managing pain. What we talk about enlightenment comes from total understanding and embracing of pain.
Meet ချာရှိလားတဲ့ဆရာတော်မြန်မာတော့မေးရရတယ်မရှိအားလုံးကိုဦးဇင်းတို့ခါတိုင်းလိုပဲရေစက်ချရအောင်မိုင်ဘုံဆရာတော်ရဲ့ရေစက်ချ
It's okay. Yeah. Sorry. Sarah, when you say compassion, do you really is it different with metta or compassion and metta difference, isn't it? But when you are, I thought that you are referring to the Gyuna, is it compassion too? So then, when you are sending your compassion, wouldn't that be changed to metta later?
I actually have given more than one talks. I don't know if the Dhammasami has this one. The way I understand the four Brahma Vihara, Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha. My understanding is that Karuna focuses on pain. Dokita Tattva. Mudita focuses on joyful thing. Dukkita Tattva. Metta focuses on both. So in mathematical terms, Metta is equal to Karuna and Mudita. In other words, Karuna is 50% of Metta.
Seattle, I have one question. I just recently felt it now. Personally, to me, when I feel pain, I will try to detach myself from the pain. Just now, what you were teaching us is that we should go and reach out for it and have a compassion. So actually, for myself, I feel that the detachment and the compassion is countering against each other. So, can you please advise me? Thank you.
To use the word that you are more familiar with, Charles Darwin, more than 200 years ago, he talks about fight and flight mode. That's survival instinct. Charles Darwin is famous for natural sciences from Cambridge University. Fight and flight. When you're trying to detach it, this is what you're saying is different from the word detachment that's used in meditation. What you're trying to, what I understand from what you're saying is that it's about running away from pain. I give you an example. If a deer faces a cheetah who is hungry. Now this is a case of life and death. The cheetah will have to run for its life. In doing so, we use all its energy maximum energy to escape the cheater. And it escapes now. But it needs time to recuperate, to recover. If you are not aware of the fact that you're in the jungle full of cheetahs, tigers, lions, hyenas, you will be caught by surprise again. And you have to use all your maximum energy and run again. So this is flight mode. Fight is that, okay, when you cannot run away from the cheetah, you have no way to run away, you are being cornered. You're going to use all your energy as well, but this time to fight. So fight and flight is for emergency situation. For emergency situation. Getting stuck in a traffic jam for 30 minutes is hardly, in many cases, not life and death situation. Maybe for a patient, maybe. But for most people, this is not emergency situation. But the amount of energy, physical and emotional energy they use is as if they are facing life and death scenario. So this is about fight and flight situation. I call this red zone in terms of emotional response pattern. The other pattern is called green zone. That green zone, we use the word tend and befriend. Tend means to pay attention, not to run away. Befriend means not to fight, but to befriend with pain. If I have stomach upset, in attitude, in thinking, I need to see this as a friend, as if this is my only child is suffering from this, is having this stomach upset. Compassion and mindfulness, they are the mother. The pain is the child. We use that to manage this pain. And these days, the neurological research findings, they have proven that I have a lot of slides from presentation. The neurologists who use Vipassana meditation, Tibetan meditation, Zen meditation, to see the brain waves and the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala and the cerebral network, the emotive and emotional network, cognitive and emotive network, how these changes. They all support the Buddha's teaching that we should use compassion to manage pain. When we run away from pain, we lose our immunity. We try to ignore the pain as if the pain doesn't happen. We try to distract ourselves with other things, with work, with television, with Facebook and whatever, not to think about that. But in doing so, we are putting a lot of effort just not to go there. It's overshadowing us. So the Buddha is saying, why not confront that? Confront that with the right attitude. If you see that pain, that inconvenience as your enemy, that's going to be your enemy. Your subconscious mind is going to see that as your enemy. But if you think that pain is your resources for your resilience, resources for your understanding, resources for your compassion, and then the world is the world has plenty of suffering, meaning we can have plenty of compassion and less compassion. So that's the Buddhist way of approaching pain.
Okay, thank you, Sayadaw, for we say thank you to our Sayadaw for sharing knowledge with us. This time, Sayadaw, even he is not feeling well, in the daytime he teaches academic writing and reading, and in the evening time, Sayadaw giving Dhamma talk to all of us. And tomorrow, Sayadaw is going back to Bangkok, and from Bangkok, he will fly to England. So we hope Sayadaw will come to Singapore very often and to share knowledge with us again. So we wish Sayadaw to recover very well soon, and also we wish Sayadaw to be healthy and long life. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. ต้องยินเสียงชายอย่างเนาะเพจ340 3 မျက်နှာ 30မိုင်းဘုံဆရာတော်ရဲ့ရေးဆက်ချာနည်းနဲ့အားလုံးတူတူဆိုကြရအောင်ကုသိုလ်မိတိနိုင်မိယမိနာမဟောခါဆရာတကလိုက်sangบารมีมาไล่แสนกำพาดังเสียงดังลงนะเสมพีเสมสางเสมสัดเสมโกนเวเนียสัจจวะในสัจจวะเลอานันดาสัจจวะเลดังเสียงแคนดอโหมสมสาธุอนุโมทนาไลหับกุศลพรดีเพ่งเบ่งกันเสียงเสกรรมติคานอสาธุสาธุสาธุกุศลมิตินายมิยามินามาคาเสียดากาไล่สร้างบารมีมาไล่แสนกำพาดังเสียงดังลงในเสมปีเสมสางเสมชัดเสมโกนเวเนียสัจวะในสัจจวะเลอานันดาสัจจวะเลทางเสียงแคนดอโหมสมสาธุอนุโมทนาไลหับกุศลพรดีเพ่งเบ่งกันเสียงเสกรรมติคานอสาธุสาธุสาธุกุศลมิตินายมิยามินามเฮาคาเสียดากาไลสร้างบารมีมาไลแสนกำพาดังเสียงดังลงในเสมปีเสมสางเสมชัดเสมกลเวเนียสัจวะในสัจจวะเลอานันดาสัจจวะเลดังเสียงแคนดอโหมสมสาธุอนุโมทนาไลหับกุศลพรดีเพ่งเบ่งกันเสียงเสกรรมติคานอสาธุสาธุสาธุดานาเมียศีลาเมียภาวนาเมียเจ้าค่ะดังเสียงดังลงอย่าโดนโหนโดนหายพี่หิมอำลายก้นหิมอำลายสะดวายหิมอำลายย้อนผักพังไว้ในบางโหสะเฮาคาโดดเดาหอดียอดเสือสาอามาตานิปานาติกาเย็นเสกามติคานอสาธุสาธุส สาธุสาธุวันดามิปันเดสะปังอาปาราดังคามาตาเมปันเดมายากาตัมปุญญัสสามินะอนุโมติตาปังสามินะกาตัมปุญญเมหันตาตาปังสาธุสาธุอนุโมทามิวันดามิปันเดสะปังอาปาราดังคามาทาเมปันเดมายากาตัมปุญญัสสามินะอนุโมติตาปังสามินะกาตัมปุญญเมหันตาตาปังสาธุสาธุอนุโมทามิวันดามิปันเดสะปังอาปาราดังคามาทาเมปันเดมายากาตัมปุญญัสสามินะอนุโมติตาปังสามินากาตัมปุญญเมหันตาตาปังสาธุสาธุอนุโมทามิวันดามิปันเตอภิวาทนาสิริสานิจังวัฏปัจจายโนจัตตารุธรรมวัฏฏันตุอายุวันโนสุขังบาลังสาธุสาธุสาธุ